Rome, the beating heart of the ancient world, was a city of marvels. White marble temples soared above crowded streets, senators strolled beneath colonnades, and emperors paraded in triumph as crowds roared their names. But beneath the grandeur lived the ordinary rhythm of daily life, merchants shouting prices, children racing barefoot down alleys, bakers rising before dawn to knead dough. And then, in the smoky corners of taverns where wine flowed cheaply and stew simmered in great clay pots, there were the dishwashers. Men and women whose names never reached the marble inscriptions of history, but whose hands shaped the unseen work that kept the empire running. This is the story of one such dishwasher. His name has been lost, but for a single day in the first century of Rome, his life was as real and necessary as that of the emperor himself. The day began in the Subura district, a place of narrow streets, crowded apartments, and endless noise. Our dishwasher woke before sunrise, when the stars still hung faintly over the city. His bed was a straw mat, his room no bigger than a storeroom. With a crust of bread in hand, he stepped out into the waking streets. The city was already stirring. Bakers carried loaves hot from their ovens, their crusts crackling in the cool air. A farmer guided his mule cart loaded with cabbages. The smell of ash, smoke, and bread filled the air. Rome, eternal and restless, was never quiet. The tavern where he worked stood on a busy street corner, marked by a painted sign showing a clay jug so that even the illiterate could recognize it. Inside, the evidence of the previous night's revelry still lingered. Tables were sticky with spilled wine, clay cups sat in messy stacks, and half-eaten bread lay scattered on the floor. He fetched water first. The tavern did not have its own supply, so he carried jars to the nearest fountain. Rome's aqueducts, those soaring arches of stone, carried streams of water from miles away, but it still took weary arms to bring it to the tavern. Back inside, he began to scrub. Bowl after bowl, cup after cup, dipped, scraped, and rinsed. His hands were already raw from lye soap, his knuckles cracked and sore. Yet there was no choice. A tavern without clean bowls was no tavern at all. As the morning wore on, merchants trickled in, stopping for wine watered down with fresh spring water. Then came travelers, dusty from the road, then soldiers boasting of their campaigns, their swords clattering as they sat. Each new customer brought more dishes, and the dishwasher's pile never shrank for long. The tavern grew loud. Dice rolled across tables, coins clinked into hands, arguments sparked over debts and wagers. The dishwasher moved quietly, listening without being noticed. He heard stories of Rome's farthest provinces, Gaul, Egypt, Britannia, places he would never see. But that night, something different happened. As lamps flickered against stone walls and the tavern filled to bursting, a commotion rose near the back. A man entered, cloaked, hooded, his face shadowed. He carried nothing but a small leather pouch. The tavern keeper, a heavy-set man with a scarred cheek, greeted him nervously, and the dishwasher noticed how the other patrons grew quiet for a moment. The hooded man sat, ordered nothing, and waited. From time to time, he glanced at the dishwasher's corner, where bowls clattered softly in the basin. At first, it seemed nothing more than curiosity. But then, when the tavern had grown louder, the man approached the washing basin. He set his pouch on the counter, leaned close, and whispered, "Keep this safe. Do not open it. Someone will come for it tomorrow." Before the dishwasher could answer, the man turned and left, disappearing into the crowded night. The dishwasher stared at the pouch. Its leather was worn, its cord tied tightly shut. His hands trembled as he tucked it beneath the stack of bowls, out of sight. He had no idea what it held, but he understood at once that it was dangerous. In Rome, secrets were heavier than gold. All night, as he scrubbed and rinsed, he wondered. Was it money? A bribe for a senator? A message meant for a general? Or something darker, a token of conspiracy against the emperor himself? He dared not look inside. The walls of Rome had ears, and taverns were often filled with informers. To open the pouch could mean death. The work continued. Patrons sang loudly, spilled wine across the floor, argued, laughed, and stumbled home. But for the dishwasher, every clatter of footsteps at the door, every shadow that passed the window, brought a new shiver of fear. Who had given him the pouch? And who would come for it tomorrow? By midnight, the tavern emptied, and silence returned. He cleaned the last cups, stacked the bowls neatly, and finally sat by the dim glow of an oil lamp. The pouch lay before him, untouched. He thought of opening it, just a glance, but he pushed the thought away. Some knowledge was too costly. At last, he tucked it beneath the boards of the washing bench, hidden where only he could find it. The city outside was quiet now. The markets were empty, the Colosseum loomed in darkness, and even the fountains trickled softly. He walked home, weary from his day, but his mind restless. Tomorrow, someone would come. Tomorrow, the pouch would leave his hands. And tomorrow, his life, simple, unnoticed, forgotten by history, might brush against the currents of power that shaped empires. For tonight, though, he slept. The dishwasher of Rome, unremarkable, invisible, and yet, for a single day, caught in a story far greater than his own.